So here's a video on how to do coasters. Some of you are going to do these, and you should carve something out of the face of the coasters. Otherwise, the glass will stick to the coaster. The soda can will stick to the coaster when you pick it up. So we're going to go to easel here, and you'll be able to see everybody's again when you log in. You can see Mr. Kern and O'Malley have some now. I'm going to start a new one, and I'm going to call this Your Name, which will be John Jones. And this is going to be my coaster project. So I first of all have to make sure that my board is the right size. You're going to start out with a 12 by 12 piece, and you might not have 12 by 12. You'll have to measure your piece and see what it is. But let's just say mine's 12 by 12 with a 0.75 thickness. Okay. And remember, the white is not the board. The dotted line there is your board. Okay, so you can actually make this white piece bigger too by going to machine and typing in 12 by 12. But whenever anybody changes this, it changes. So whatever, you don't really need to do that. Coaster. So I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to make one coaster, and then I'm going to copy it and paste it a bunch of times. A good size for a coaster is about 3.5 by 3.5, and there is a circle right here. You have to hold the shift when you resize the circle. Oh, excuse me. No, you don't. So I don't know if you can actually type in the exact size, but if you pin the circle into the corner and enlarge it to around 3.5, should be about good. You can see this is a big blah. It's cutting a big hole in the piece right now. That's not what I want. So you got to change it to outline. And we're going to change the bit to a 60-degree V-bit again. You notice that it's huge, and that's because it's cutting a 1/4 inch in. You're going to cut a circle, but you're only going to cut it tiny, tiny, tiny little shave around the edge there. So you're actually going to have it zip out a circle for you, and then you're going to cut it out on the bandsaw. So make this 0.02. And it'll cut a real slim circle on there so you won't have to draw it later. And all your design work is going to go inside of that. So it's really, really light. I'm going to make it a little bit thicker right now, and then do all my design work in it and then make it thin at the end. So let's say I wanted to do a coaster for my mom. John Jones wants to make one for his mom. And he wants to do a paw print. Okay, so let's do paw, outline. And actually, I have one downloaded already. I think I have a paw with a heart downloaded somewhere. So you'd search, and I already showed you how to download them. Anyway, I have one downloaded in my folder. So I'm going to go to Import, and I'm going to get an image trace from my folder. And you typically save it to your desktop, but I have mine saved in my Roland folder. Kind of like the Shamrock, actually, but I'm going to do this. There it is, the dog and the heart. I'm making this for Mom. Okay, so you notice that the lines are a bit jagged around the heart. Smooth them out. I usually go all the way up on the smoothing, and it rounds everything out. This is perfect. I can experiment with the threshold. I don't really know what that does, like I told you before, but you could look it up, I guess, if you wanted. So import it, and that thing is huge. So we're going to make it smaller. We are going to move it into our drawing. See, once you move it in, though, it's hard to group things together. So I typically like to do my design work outside of my space and then move it in. So I'm going to zoom back out on this so I can see what it looks like. Yeah, that looks pretty good. We're only going to make one coaster and then put it all together and then copy it and paste it a bunch of different times. So I like that. And then I'm just going to use some text, and I'm going to write Mom. So let's do this one. I like it. No, I changed my mind. I don't like it. Let's go this one. M-O-M. All right, so I want to actually curve this around this. And the curve on this doesn't work real great, but there is an app. If you click on the apps, you actually have to highlight this first. So click on it, make sure you're on it, and then go to the apps. And one of the tools is a circular text tool. It doesn't do a great job, but it will let you move these once you do it. So you can experiment with this if you want. I don't know. I've never found it to be very good. So anyway, you just click OK on here, import, and it drops one of these. But what it does essentially, and I can delete this now, what it does essentially is make these individual letters. So I can actually curve these around now, and I'm going to make them smaller. I'm going to curve them around my heart. I'm just going to curve them by moving them where I want. That's, I found, a lot better than trying to use that program. I don't know. There's probably a way to do it, but I'm lazy and I haven't figured it out. And I have a feeling you can be lazy as well. I think that font is not good because these M's are not really centered. They're a little bit italic, so they're tilted, but it looks weird. I'd probably pick a different font, actually, but I'm not going to go back. I'm just going to keep going on the video. So, yeah, I don't really like that a whole lot. Anyway, let's make this 1/8 of an inch, and I'm going to shrink it down so it fits in my circle. That's pretty darn good. I like that. Cool. Check out the preview, see how it looks. Yeah, I don't like this font. I would change the font, but I'm not going to in the video. And then remember, I'm going to bring this back down to 0.02. Oops, I did 2 decimal points. Okay, and I forgot to push return. 0.02, enter. Okay, so this is my coaster, and it's really, really hard to see this line around the outside, but it's there. It's just going to buzz that little line around the outside, and it's going to carve this out the inside. Okay, so now I want to make multiples. What do? I highlight this, and I remember not to move anything around because I don't know how to group this stuff together. I haven't found a good way to do it. Combine just blocks it out for some reason. Anyway, highlight everything, copy it, and then you go edit, paste, and you got to make sure that these are not touching, and you have to get as many as you can in here. So we're going to only get about 3 next to each other, and then we can do 2 in the next row, or maybe another 3. We'll see how it goes. And edit, paste. I'm going to move this one over here. So now I have 3. See, the hard part is moving the whole thing. A lot of times you'll move these and little letters will come out. Okay, so now I'm going to copy all 3 of these. Edit, copy, edit, paste, and here we go. I have another row. And maybe if I'm lucky, I got to move those up a little bit so they're not touching. Looks good. Maybe if I'm lucky, oops, edit, undo, move. I'll be able to get a 3rd row without staggering them. We'll see. And edit, paste. That's way up here. And yeah, I'm good. I can get 9 3.5 by 3.5 coasters out of here. And it's going to do a detailed preview for me. Looks good. So that should cut those out of my cutting board type material. I have the striped cutting board type material, no problem. I could even make these a little bit bigger if I wanted to. I think I could probably go with 3 3/4. I bet you they would fit on there. Again, you just have to kind of putz around with what's on here. You have to do all this setup. Just run a simulate to see how long it's going to take. Typically, if this thing runs for a couple hours, that's all you want to do. 28 minutes, it's going to buzz these out, no problem. If it's really long, if it's over like 4 or 5 hours for the coasters, you should probably change your depth on it. It means you haven't cut too deep. So just a quick video on how to do these, but you get the idea. You got to focus on one coaster and make that one really good and get it how you want it. And then it's just a matter of copying and pasting them in there. It saves automatically, just so you know. And then you would come in at lunch and say, hey, Mr. Curran, I want to cut these out of the CNC machine, and I'll help you do it.